Hello everybody, I'm back. I'm going to make my pumpkin cheesecake crumble tonight. This is my own recipe that I started making back in 2012. I've never shared it before, so tonight I'm going to share it. It will be a three-part because some of it has to cool, but it is very, very easy to make. It's just a cooling process of it. So tonight, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start out with a can of pumpkin, and this is the pumpkin that you get that you had to add the carnation milk and the eggs. So I'm going to use this and get this going, and I forgot to turn my oven on, so I'm going to put that on. So I'm going to put this on 375. So you want to have your oven on 375. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to crack my 2 eggs. And this calls for 2 eggs, so it'll tell you right on here what to put in. And then 5 ounces. Now this is a bigger can, but 5 ounces is almost a half if you have the bigger can. So that's all I'm going to do with that. I'm going to come over here and get I have some pumpkin pie spice that I like to add. You don't have to. If you have nutmeg or anything, you can throw anything like that in there. But I have this and I have it on hand. So I'm going to put approximately 1 teaspoon of that in there, and I'm going to stir this. I'm not going to use my blender on this. Let me get it all together real quick here. And what I want to do tonight, I have this. It is I believe this is a 9x9 cake dish. I usually don't make them this small, but I'm going to go ahead and do this tonight. Yes, so just a regular cake pan, a 9x9 or 9x13, either or. Actually, this is a 9x13. Yes, this is a 9x13. So anyhow, or you can use a 9x9, whatever. I usually make a huge big pan because I make it for the holidays. So I'm going to mix this here together. And you do not have to spray your pan at all. So do not spray your pan. I don't care if you're using glass, metal, or what. And I've made it in all of them. So do not put nothing in the bottom of your pan. So what I want to do on this is I'm going to get this made up. And I'm going to put a touch of cinnamon in this. You don't have to do that, but I always add a little bit of cinnamon even when I'm making pumpkin pies. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a teaspoon, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of cinnamon in this. Now, like I said, if you don't have the pumpkin allspice, but you have nutmeg and cinnamon, you can use that. Now, this is actually going to be a 3-layer. This is going to be my pumpkin on the bottom. My crumble is going to be the next layer that I put. And then the cheesecake will be the 3rd layer, and then there will be a Cool Whip. So, and this is delicious. So I am ready to roll with that. Let's get me a regular spoon out. I'm going to go ahead and get this poured in here. And I'm going to let this bake just like it is, like I'd be making a pumpkin pie, is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put it in the oven, and at 375, And I'll tell you how long I baked it. I can usually just tell by the texture, so I've really never timed it on the baking. So just because I'm doing this, I will let you guys know. But I'm going to say a good 30 minutes to 40 minutes that this needs to be in the oven. So that's why this is going to be a 3-part, because this has to bake. And then this will come out, and then I'll put a crumble on the top, and it'll go back in the oven just for probably about 20 minutes. So we'll time this as it goes, okay? That way it'll help you guys. So I'm going to get this going. So this looks really good. You guys can use this at Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, any holiday you want, and I promise you guys, you will have an empty dish. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in my oven. So you just take a can of, I like to use Libby's, but you can use any brand you want, and it is the pumpkin pie mix. It's the one that calls for the carnation milk and the egg, and then put you some nutmeg, cinnamon, pumpkin spice, cinnamon. If you want to put all 3, that's fine. If I wanted to add the nutmeg to this, I'd probably put a ½ teaspoon, okay? Can't go wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven. And while that is in the oven, I want to get on the second part of this. Hey, Jet. You come over here with me. My little grandson's here, so he's going to come over and maybe help Mama out. You want to help me out? Yes. Okay. I tell you what, hand me that cake mix right there. So what I want to do with this, the cake mix. I forgot to take my butter out. So you want to hand Mama the cake mix? Yeah. Okay, hand that to me. This is my cute little grandson, Jet. And he's so cute. He's got his little, what do you call this? Mullet. His little mullet going on. Okay. So, you're going to open, you want to get you a spice cake mix. The spice cake mix. And you want to get me a spoon, please? He come to spend the evening with me, so he kind of got here in the middle of me making this. Right there. So you get this. This is going to become my crumble. And you do not add the ingredients to the cake mix into this at all. None of these ingredients goes in here. So what we're going to do is this. So I'm going to measure this as I go because I've never measured it. I always just know by the texture. So I'm going to start out with, and this is a tablespoon. And as you see, I'm putting heaping tablespoons. So I'm going to start out with 3 heaping tablespoons. And then I'm going to melt this. I gotta take my little rack out. I always forget about this. Put this over there. And you just want it pretty much soft. It doesn't have to be like melted all the way down, but just as long as it's soft. Get me a drink of coffee while I'm waiting for this to melt. Are you having a good evening? You are. This is my, this is my youngest grandson. I have an older grandson. He's going to be 15, huh? He's Mama's youngest. Okay, here. So, as you can see, it's not completely melted at all. Still has some clumps of butter in it, but then it has some that's just really melted. So I'm just going to stir this up a little bit. And so we had 3 tablespoons clumped of butter. And you can use any kind of butter. It doesn't matter what kind of butter you use. So I like the Old Country Crock, but anyhow, you can use whatever. So I'm going to start out with just a little bit. Probably just put half of what I just put in, because I need to take it slow because I don't want this smooth. I don't want it runny. I want it clumpy. So if you can see this, it's got like a clumpy texture. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. So I'm going to state that this will only take 2 tablespoons. So let's not do the 3. Let's do, if we're measuring it, and like I said, I'm doing the measuring tonight for you guys. So let's just do 2 clumped tablespoons butter. Do not stir. And when I'm saying not stir, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this. I want you to kind of like fold it in, because you want it to kind of be clumpy. And if you don't get every bit of the powder mixed and there's still a little bit left, it's okay. It's not going to ruin nothing, because this butter is kind of going to do its thing on here. Okay, so this is how this should look. See, it's just, I can't hardly get it off the spoon. And sometimes you even have to use your fingers as you're putting it on to it when you're topping the pumpkin part. So, okay, so I have to let this set aside now. So now what I want to do in this bowl, Jet, you want to hand Mama that cheesecake? So you go to the store. So we got the crumble going. Well, this is baking. Now I just got me a Jell-O. You can get any brand you want, a cheesecake. I usually buy the plain, but since all this COVID stuff's hit, there's things that you just have a hard time finding, and I couldn't find one nowhere. So anyhow, I'm going to mix this together. You want to get Mama all the milk out of the refrigerator? The one with the blue lid, please. So I'm not using the cherries in here, but I won't throw them cherries away because I can use them as something else. But I am going to use this graham cracker crust at the very end. Okay. So I'm just going to put this in my bowl. And I'm having this stuff ready because this is going to go in the refrigerator. And I'm going to start chilling this, actually. And let's see here what I just do with that. What did I just do with my measuring cup? I lost my measuring cup. Ain't that something? No, it's not one. Let me get me. I have another one.
Right here.
No, that's a different one. That's another one. Okay, I got my measuring cup. And you go by the directions on the box as how much milk. And like I said, you're not going to use the cherries if you have to get one with the fruit. It's better just to buy the plain one. And if you want to make a homemade cheesecake, go for it. But this is so easy and simple. On here you put 1.5 cups of milk. So I'm going to get my 1.5 cups of milk. Don't got my glasses on. When you ain't got the glasses on, it kind of whatever's you a little bit. I better put my glasses on. Man, after you turn 50, you just kind of, so it's 1.5. After I turned 50, I had to start wearing reading glasses and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in. And I'm not going to take the blender out for this neither. I'm going to whisk this also. So here we go. And then what I'm going to do with this, after I whisk it really good, I'm going to put it in my refrigerator. And this is going to be getting really cold and real thick. Well, I'm waiting for everything else to come together. I started when I had a restaurant back in early 2000. I just made all kinds of desserts and stuff up. and I just kind of put this together one night, and it was really good, and I've been making it ever since. Kind of have a few ideas I'll share on here, some easy recipes that's really good. So now I usually make the huge restaurant style pans of this. So I'm making a small one tonight. When you're used to cooking for a lot, it's kind of hard to downsize, but I'm learning. And cheesecake, you know, we all know it thickens the longer it sets and the colder it gets. So when I take this out a little bit, this will be really thick. Okay, I'm going to refrigerate this in a minute. You want to set this one to the side for me, please? Set this there on the table, please. Okay, so we have our pumpkin in the oven bacon at 375. We used a large can of pumpkin mix, the one that adds the eggs and the carnation milk, and then we added us some cinnamon, and we added us some pumpkin pie seasoning. And like I said, if you want to use nutmeg or something, you can do that. While the pumpkin is preparing, I went ahead and got the crumble ready, and the crumble is made of a spice cake mix, and then we use 2 heaping tablespoons of butter melted. And then remember, you don't stir it, you fold it, and you want it to be thick like this. So definitely don't use 3, because the more you use, it would be runny, and you don't want this runny. Then we bought us a store-bought cheesecake. Like I said, I always usually get the plain, but I couldn't find the plain. So you can just keep your cherries or strawberries for something else you might do. So while this is cooking, and we got the pumpkin baking in the oven, I'm going to get off of here. And when the pumpkin comes back out, I'm going to come back on and show you how to put that crumble on to get that in the oven. So this will be a 3-part. So just have patience with me. And just because it's taken long doesn't mean that it's hard to make. The reason that it's taking long is because the pumpkin has to bake. And then I have to put the crumble on to bake just a very little bit. It doesn't take long for the crumble at all. And then we have to let that cool. And then after that, it just slides right by. Okay, you guys have a good evening, and I will be back soon with the second part.